We got the White Sox at 30, Angels at 29, Marlins at 28, Rockies at 27, the A's at 26, Blue Jays at 25, Nationals at 24. Maybe you could flip-flop those. I'll let you debate about that in the chat. Rangers at 23, Pirates at 22, and the Reds at 21. Here are my notes for the bottom 10. For the Marlins, they have informed Sandy Alcantara that he is not going to be traded this offseason. I wasn't expecting him to get traded at all this offseason, right? Coming back from Tommy John. So, but they have been making a ton of trades. That's a guy you want to keep around. I mean, that's a guy you have for a few years there. So, yeah, no surprise there, if you ask me. The Rangers getting a walk-off win today. Not that bad. For the Reds, Hunter Green going to the IL with elbow soreness. They're waiting on the MRI results. And, I mean, the Reds are pretty much already out of it at this point. But, you know, losing Hunter Green, and you know, it's never going to help. And hopefully we got nothing else going on there. Hopefully it's not going to be, you know, some kind of like elbow surgery or anything. You always get so scared every time you see the elbow stuff. You don't like that. Paul Skeens looked pretty good this past weekend. Had a career high in walks. I mean, it was 4 walks. It's not like he walked like 18 batters, for crying out loud, but it was a career high. That just shows how good Paul Skeens is. I guess his girlfriend dressed up like him at the Fanatics Fest this past weekend. I guess a lot of people got a hoot out of that one. I guess, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is there. I guess it's news. I saw people talking about it. But the Pirates, hey, they did win 2 out of 3 against the Mariners. We'll get to the Mariners in just a little bit. For crying out loud, that team, if you're a Mariners fan, I'm sorry. Like, what a frustrating year you've been going through. But everyone, those are my notes for the bottom 10. And we got a super chat coming in. Kelvin Ince, $10. Robbie, smashing content as always. Thumbs up to you, my friend. Question is Mike Trout the best player you have ever seen? I mean, you got to remember here, like, I really started diving in to baseball in the late 90s. Now, if you're looking at a full career, yeah, I mean, what Mike Trout did in the 2010s is just out of this freaking world. I mean, my goodness. I mean, what that guy was doing. I was seeing the early days of Mike Trout. Unbelievable. I mean, every year he was putting together just stupid numbers. I mean, yeah, I would say over, you know, seeing a career, seeing it unfold in front of me, yeah, I think there is a good argument for that to be number one that I've seen. But I've seen, like, just so many good players. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, oh, like, I watched Mickey Mantle when I was younger. No, but, you know, growing up as a Red Sox fan, I obviously got to watch, you know, someone like David Ortiz, one of the greatest hitters of our lifetime, and Manny Ramirez, of course, you know, Pedro on the mound. I didn't really pay attention to his younger years, right? But when he came to the Red Sox, you know, it was a sensation every time he pitched. So I think you could argue that maybe he's up there, right? I would imagine he's got to be top 3 for me at least. Even seeing guys like Dustin Pedroia. I mean, Dustin Pedroia is not going to be higher than a Mike Trout, but I mean, still getting to see that guy, you know, him coming up as a rookie in 2006, Terry Francona asking who's this chubby little guy here that came up from Pawtucket? Who the heck is Dustin Pedroia? And he turned into one of the more solid players of all time. So, but yeah, I would say over like a whole career, I mean, yeah, Mike Trout is probably number 1, but there are just so many good players over the years, man. So many. I mean, I'm biased towards my Red Sox, but, you know, but I even got to see, you know, even someone just like Alex Rodriguez for so many years, right? I didn't really pay attention to, you know, his years in the 90s so much, right? I saw a lot of him with the Yankees, obviously. But there are so many good players, man. So many. But yeah, Mike Trout's probably up there at number 1. Thank you for that super chat, my friend. I do appreciate you. But let's get to it here. We're going to run through these here tonight, everyone. We're going to run through these here. It's already pretty late. Got a late start. I was working on some stuff today. So let me make sure I haven't messed up anything. We have not messed up. Okay, there we go. Starting at number 20, we got the Tigers. Is that game final? I was getting ready for these tonight, and I did not see if that game went final. Oh, did they walk it off? Oh, they walked it off. How about the Tigers? Okay, even more reason for the Tigers to make the top 20. It was a 1-0 Yankee lead the last time I had checked. Oh, man. A pretty fun weekend, right? You got the Players Weekend here. You had the Little League stuff going on this weekend. You saw all the cool bat designs coming out. I thought they were going to be wearing, I thought, especially here tonight, I thought they were going to be wearing the fun jerseys. I mean, what the heck happened to the fun jerseys? I'm just saying. Pretty cool, though. That's awesome, man, that they were playing here tonight. Parker Meadows with the walk-off single here. Good stuff. Well, the Yankees, they had a chance to win 2 out of 3, and they blew it there in the end. Marcus Stroman had himself a pretty good start today. So, but starting off, number 20, we got the Tigers. And, hey, good win for them tonight. Hey, they swept Seattle this week. Torkelson's back. Riley Green back from the IL. I mean, let's see if Torkelson here can get himself right for the rest of the year. I think that he would do himself a big favor having a good finish to the year. And they also promoted Jace Young this week, the number 64 prospect in Major League Baseball. Speaking of prospect, fellas, speaking of prospects here, make sure you go check the video that I posted this weekend. I reviewed every prospect in the top 100. I did my best with it. It was a lot of prospects to go over, a lot of scouting reports to go over. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, fellas. But Jace Young, really solid player down to the minor leagues this year. He went from A-ball to AAA, actually, and hit 257 with an 831 OPS, 14 home runs, including a 377 on base. This guy, he is quite crispy at getting on base. So keep your eye out for Jace Young. For the Tigers, they're pretty much looking to gain some momentum going into next year. And, hey, they got some young players now. Let's see. Torkelson, hopefully he can get himself right. And maybe Jace Young could end up being a pretty solid bat for them next year. We'll see. Wong's with $1.99. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you. Moving on to number 19. We got the Rays. So how about the Rays, right? This Rays team, this is the Rays team that drives me nuts usually every single year. I mean, they're looking quite pesky, sweeping the Diamondbacks this weekend. I mean, they got swept by the Astros earlier in the week, but they had 2 walk-off wins against the Diamondbacks this weekend. That is the pesky Rays team that I am used to seeing. They drive you nuts. I mean, you want to just smash your head into a freaking wall every time you play the Rays. But Josh Lowe, he's hitting well. Pepio, he's been pitching well lately. But how about Dylan freaking Carlson? I mean, this is what the Rays do. Every single time they get a guy, they just make the guy good. They're so good with their analytics. They're so good with all that stuff to get a guy right back on track. Dylan Carlson is looking like the top prospect that we were all waiting to see with the Cardinals since joining the Rays. He's hitting .293 with a .920 OPS, 3 home runs. I mean, are you freaking kidding me right now? Dylan Carlson, a Rays legend already. I mean, my goodness. Number 18, speaking of the Cardinals, number 18 for the Cardinals. Wow, the Cardinals are falling flat on their face right now. They were looking quite wonderful not too long ago, and here they are just slugging in the bad way down the stretch. Slugging as in an actual slug. Whoa, what the heck's going on here? They're now 5 games back in the wild card. They had an 89 WRC plus over their last 7 games. They only scored 4 runs against Cincinnati in their series there. Now, Burleson, Wynn, Contreras, they did have a good game on Saturday against the Dodgers, but that's pretty much it. What the Cardinals, man, they got to get this together here. I don't know. They're 5 back in this wild card race. They look pretty good there for a little bit, but I don't know here. Starting pitching-wise, Palante, Gray, they pitched well this week, but the bullpen, all of a sudden the bullpen is just completely collapsed, right? Helsley's been struggling, right? Fernandez hasn't really been pitching all that great. Kittredge blew a save on Friday. They have a bottom 5 bullpen this month. I mean, the Cardinals, what the heck is going on there? Number 17, we got the Cubbies. Swept by the Guardians this week, but they won 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays this weekend. Offense is starting to come alive this week, right? Ian Happ, he's been pretty hot lately. 3 home runs over his last 7 games. Peter Crow Armstrong, starting to get himself together here. Got a couple of homers this past week, just saying. Starting pitching, it's been decent. Imanaga, he was pretty good today against the Blue Jays. Didn't get a whole lot of run support there. Justin Steele, he was looking pretty good until the rain took over there. But bullpen, they've been pitching pretty well in that bullpen. For the Cubs right now, they're just trying to find any sort of momentum they can. They're 5.5 back in this wild card race. They're going to have to finish this month off strong if they want to have put themselves in a good position in September to really maybe go for a run. We'll see. Jordan Ramirez, $5 super chat. What free agents are available this year that the Tigers could get as either a corner outfielder or a shortstop? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm thinking Alex Bregman for the Tigers. I think that would be a nice upgrade. Gio Urshela, speaking of the Tigers, sorry, I forgot to mention this, actually just got DFA'd. So, hey, you got an opening at third. I know Jace Young, where do you put him? I don't know. Maybe you could do something with Bregman there. Maybe someone could move to a different position. We'll see. But I feel like Bregman would be a pretty good player to add there. A guy, is a good veteran, right? Good solid player. Has that connection with Hingstreit from the Astros. But there will be some pretty good bats on the market this year. If we were to take a look, I'm going to be honest, I haven't fully dove in to offseason stuff. I made a few predictions in a video about a little over a week ago. But who are the free agents coming up in 2025? We're starting to get into that mode, everyone. Could Juan Soto shock the world and go to the Detroit Tigers? I will say this. I was playing MLB The Show a few years ago, and I still remember it. Juan Soto went to the Tigers in that. They're so bad with the simulations in free agency. Like, I think there was one time Juan Soto went to the Oakland A's, for crying out loud. But if you're looking for, someone corner outfield, I don't know, if Bellinger opts out, could maybe you explore someone like that? Tyler O'Neill, I think, could be pretty decent. I think that could be something to pay attention to. Someone like maybe like an Anthony Santander. I could see a power bat like him. Maybe like a Teoscar Hernandez if they want to give him a long-term deal. Yeah, I would say Tyler O'Neill. That would probably be a nice one for them to get. I feel like that would. I don't know. I don't know if if the ownership, how big they're going to go. I do think they're going to have themselves an active offseason. I'm just not sure what the money is going to look like with them. But we have seen them spend money in the past, right? Javier Baez being, the most recent example. We'll see, but I do expect the Tigers to have a busy offseason. I would say look out for someone like a Tyler O'Neill, maybe Alex Bregman. Let's kind of see, how that infield shapes up a little bit. Like I said, you just brought up Jace Young. He's at third, but I don't know. Could you maybe move someone, right? I don't know if Colt Keith can go anywhere. I would imagine he probably stays at second. Could Jace Young maybe play some outfield? Could he maybe move to an outfield spot? I don't know if he's played any outfield at all in the minor leagues. I think he's only played third base. I think he's only played third base. So I don't know if he can move, but we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. I think a good bat like O'Neill, I think that could make some sense. But where was I? Thank you for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate you. Moving on. I just lost my train of thought. I think we were on the Cubs. We were on the Cubbies, right? But yeah, the Cubs, they just need to finish out this month strong. They have been playing a bit better this month. An up and down week overall, but let's see if the Cubs can get themselves within a few games of a wild card spot. At number 16, we got the Giants. Kind of a whatever week for the Giants. They fall a couple spots here, losing 3 out of 4 against the Braves. They split with Oakland. They're 4 games back in the wild card race. Offense had gone cold there for a bit, minus a couple of home runs today and extra innings to help pull that out. But they only scored 5 runs in the first 3 games against the Braves. We had seen this Giants lineup starting to do some things a little bit, but hey, they kind of just went cold against the Braves. But you got good pitching over there in Atlanta. So, you had Grant McCray, first career home run this weekend. Casey Schmidt also homered this weekend. But other than that, not really a whole lot with the offense, right? You had a couple of homers today. Conforto there. Webb, Man, he pitched really well this weekend against the Braves. 7 2/3, or this week, sorry, 7 2/3 shutout for Webb. Snell continues to pitch amazing, 11 strikeouts and 6 1/3 against the Braves, and a tough luck loss for him. But not a whole lot of inspiration for the Giants this week. They're not making you feel pretty good, right? They were kind of right there in that wild card race, but they've fallen a couple of games back. Number 15. Oh man. This Mariners team, man. This Mariners team. I mean, I don't know, man. I think they need to just completely rehaul this freaking organization, for crying out loud. I mean, seriously. I mean, what is it? Maybe I'm overreacting, okay? Maybe I'm overreacting here. But, you're 4 games back in this West now. You're 5.5 back in the wild card. I mean, you lose 2 out of 3 to the Pirates this week. You got swept by Detroit. You scored 4 runs against Detroit. I mean, you traded for not Teoscar Hernandez, Randy Arozarena. You traded for Justin Turner. I mean, I know they're still, trying to get some guys back here. You got J-Rod back. I think J.P. Crawford's getting close. But, yeah, sure, they scored 10 runs today. But that's one game. I mean, come on. We got to start getting a bit more consistency here. We've been crying for some consistency with the Mariners. But, I mean, I don't know. Man. Georgia, how is Seattle this high after losing to Pittsburgh? Listen, I am not drunk, my friend. I am not drunk. But, I mean, listen, the Mariners, why are they this high? Because they got great pitching, right? Their starting pitching is still amazing. They're second in Major League Baseball in starting pitching this year. Kirby pitched great today. Gilbert, Miller pitched well this week. Their bullpen has not been good. Their bullpen is actually dead last this month. I mean, honestly, I think this is a perfect spot for the Mariners. Out of all 30 teams, smack dab in the middle. A terrible offense, but amazing starting pitching, right? Bullpen has been pretty solid for the most part, minus these last couple of weeks here. This Mariners team, man, I don't know, man. I think this is a great spot. 15th overall, you're right in the middle. They got to figure something out here, man. I don't know. Number 14, we got the Mets. I'm feeling pretty good about the Mets, after this week. Losing, did lose their series against Oakland, but winning their series against the Marlins. 6 overall in offense this past month. They got a top 10 offense this year. Lindor, Vientos, both those guys are hot. Nimmo, on the other hand, not doing so great lately. The shoulder, he has to get that checked out. Hopefully nothing wrong with that. Paul Blackburn did pitch pretty well today. Peterson, Manaea, they've been pitching okay lately. Bullpen, it's fine for the most part, right? They're 19th overall in relief pitching this year, but they've been okay as of late. They're 2 back in the wild card race. This Mets team, this is kind of what I was thinking for the Mets coming into this year. A team that hangs around the wild card picture. I think, when I was looking at this team coming into the year, I'm like, okay, this lineup, they got good bats, right? You got some young players that can maybe take a step forward this year. Mark Vientos, right? He's really taking a step forward here. I think Beatty might be coming back here soon, so let's see how that goes. But this is a Mets team, right? They're hitting well this year. Pitching is a little bit more on the lackluster side, but they're getting enough of the pitching this year. Hey, let's see if the Mets can maybe shock some people here. We'll see, but hey, not the worst week, up and down for the most part. Number 13, we got my Red Sox at lucky number 13. Kind of like a weird week for the Red Sox because it wasn't a bad week overall. They won 2 out of 3 against the Rangers. They split with the Orioles. And the 3.5 back in the wild card race now. But they had, I don't know, it was just it felt like a bad week, even though it wasn't a bad week. And, you had James Paxton, his calf completely exploded this week. I mean, my goodness, James Paxton, I don't know what to say about, I feel so bad for James Paxton. This is a guy, you go back to the late 2010s and this is looking like one of the better pitchers in the game, and he was just running into so many injuries. And, last couple of years, he's, really gotten himself back. And you're thinking this year, okay, here we go. You know, James Paxton, he's back to being a guy that's going to be on the mound for you consistently. And the Red Sox, they made the trade for him with the Dodgers. He wasn't amazing with the Dodgers, but he had a couple of good moments after coming back last year with the Red Sox. And then he tears his calf. I mean, it looked terrible. I mean, the guy couldn't. You just saw like his leg completely lock up. Like he couldn't even move. He's probably done for this year. Hopefully it's not going to be something that lingers in the next year for him. We'll see. But the Red Sox did sign Rich Hill. They did sign Rich Hill. And I'm excited. I'm excited for Rich Hill to come back. I mean, come on. I mean, it's Rich freaking Hill, for crying out loud. I mean, he's been with like 18 different teams or whatever it is. How old is Rich Hill now? He's basically the modern day Jamie Moore. I'm excited for him. But as for the Red Sox, though, 8th in offense on the year. You know, Devers and Abreu have been hitting pretty well lately. David Hamilton's been doing some things there. Jarren Duran, you know, I'm not getting into all that nonsense. I'm just so over all of that. Just, my goodness, it's just, we focus on the baseball here. That's all with Jarren Duran. And he made a great catch this past weekend against the Orioles, helped them win that game there. But overall, you know, for the Red Sox, I mean, they're still offensively, they're a very strong team. The pitching, though, has not been amazing. The pitching has not been amazing. But you had Tanner Houck pitch pretty well against the Rangers this weekend. Bayo picked up the win against the Orioles. He's been pretty good his last couple of starts. He's had a very up and down year, but let's see if he can keep that momentum going for the rest of the year. Bullpen, though, Luis Garcia, I was excited about that move, but the Red Sox have kind of just messed with him a little bit. You know, this is a guy where, you know, had a pretty good splitter going there for a bit, and, you know, they're not really having him use it. They're having him go with a slider. I don't know. He just hasn't really he's not pitching like he was with the Angels, but if you go look at the numbers, he's completely reversed those two pitches. And it's like, well, why aren't you just having him pitch the way he was pitching with the Angels? It's like one thing if he's just come over to the Red Sox and he's doing the same thing and it's not working. But like the Red Sox, they've kind of switched a couple of things around and it's not working. I don't understand that. He's given up 12 runs in 7 games. Ugh, man. Anyway, but there was some good news for the Red Sox. You know, you had the whole Jarren Duran thing this week. You know, like I said, I'm not getting into that. I don't do the politics stuff on here. Whatever. Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, Kyle Teal, called up this week. Called up to AAA. Sorry. They are getting closer to Major League ready. All 3 were called up at the same time, which is pretty cool. You know, you usually don't see 3 of your top prospects moving up together. So pretty good moment for those guys. It's going to be real fun next year. Whatever happens with the Red Sox this year, I think overall people are going to look at it from a positive point of view. And once you get these, you know, more of these young players coming up for the Red Sox next year, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Here we go. Number 12, we have the Royals. Up and down week for the Royals here, losing 2 out of 3 to the Twins, sweeping the Reds. Up and down week, right? They got the 3rd wild card spot as of right now. They're 12th in offense on the year. Bobby Witt, this guy's not going to cool down this year. He's been amazing. You know, Pasquantino, Furman, they've been hitting well. Darren Blanco had a home run today. So they're getting some decent offense lately. Starting pitching, they're also staying strong in the rotation. Brady Singer had 6 shutout innings today against the Reds. Reagans, Waka, they look pretty good this week. You know, the Royals, hey, they're just playing solid this year, and they keep it going, right? They have a couple of bumps here and there, but they find their way, you know, they find their way back right into that 3rd wild card spot after every single down week. Anytime they have a down week, they're just right back in it. So, hey, the Royals, they're going to be fun to watch here over the next month. And closing out this tier, we got the Braves. They move up 1 spot from last week. And here we go. The Braves are starting to heat up a little bit. Winning 3 out of 4 against the Giants this week, 2 out of 3 against the Angels. They have the 3rd wild card spot right now. Like I said earlier, the pitching continues to be strong with the Braves, right? It's Chris Sale. I mean, this guy's really making a good case, to win a Cy Young this year. As a Red Sox fan, it's like I'm so glad he's having success, but part of me is like, man, would love that on my Red Sox right now. But he had 10 strikeouts against the Angels. Charlie Morton, 5 1/3, 1 earned today. They're getting good pitching, right? Max Fried, he's been good this year. If the Braves get into the postseason, they're going to need that offense to start kicking it up a little bit. And they are starting to heat up a little bit. 7th this past week. You got Soler. He's been hitting well since coming back over. Ozuna, Michael Harris, Laureano, for crying out loud. Darno, they've been hitting well. So they need these guys to keep stepping up here. We'll see. I feel like I don't want to put like a final... I don't know. I feel like the Braves, you got to give them, I think, a little bit more time to see if they can really get this offense fully going. I feel like there is more there. I don't know. It's just not the same offense like it was last year. Of course, they've had injuries, right? They're 18th overall in offense on the year. We'll see. But they're going to need these guys to really get hot. If they want to have any chance in the postseason, yes, they got the pitching, right? Rotation, bullpen has been really solid this year. But they're going to need these bats to start doing some things, and they need to get hot going into the playoffs. So we'll see. But, hey, they had a good week. I said last week this is going to be a big week for the Braves, and they answered the call. Good to see that they got themselves back on track a little bit. Sound FX with a $10 super chat. Braves at number 11. Okay, beat the Giants and the Angels on the road. That was another thing. But now it's serious time. 3 versus our divisional nemesis, Philly, then 3 versus Washington. Offense showing signs of getting going. Sale for Cy Young. I mean, yeah, you just nailed all of it, man. Let's see. Hopefully this isn't just like a mirage, right? The Angels, not a great team this year. The Giants, the Giants, I thought, were actually, starting to put themselves in a pretty good position. So I felt like that was a good series win for them, especially on the road. We'll see. Let's see if this Braves team can keep this momentum going. I still think they're a good team, right? But they need these bats to stay hot.